Good morning. We have seen in the previous class the situations that lead to the soliloquy of Juliet in Act 3, Scene 2, lines 17 to 25. Just 9 lines. We wonder how Shakespeare could speak so much in 9 lines. We'll see it. They had married off by Friar Lawrence with the best of intentions that this marriage would bring an end to the feuding families fighting with each other and they become friends. That is a friar's priority. And again, both these children, Romeo and Juliet, were darlings to him, belongs to his parish. And in his authority, without anyone's consent, he marries them off. After marriage, Juliet goes back to her mansion, Romeo to his friends. There things happened, we have seen in the last class. And the agreement was that Romeo would come to Juliet at night. Now, Juliet is anxiously waiting on the balcony, awaiting the arrival of Romeo, and each second appears to be an age for Juliet. That was the intensity and anxiety of waiting. How she begins? Come night. Come night. Why should she address come night? Come Romeo. Come thou day and night. The line, come night. Night should come first, then come Romeo. For two reasons. One reason is that Romeo, a Monday, is unable to come to the mansion of Capulet if seen that is the end of his life. So she wanted Romeo to have the protection of the cover of the darkness of night. So she doesn't want the night to wait for the revolving of the earth around the sun. She wants the night to come instantly. Then only she wants Romeo to come in the safety of darkness. That is one meaning of it. The second meaning, I don't know if you know, lovers always prefer darkness to light. Normally, the love meetings would be taking place in darkness, not in light. So she is inviting darkness to come to assist them in their meeting, to see each other unseen by others. So she is inviting, and how she falls in love with the night. Thou come Romeo, come thou day and night. Come thou day and night. So we could explain it in different ways. Day and night means, though you come at night in darkness, you will be shining like a day in the background of the darkness of night. Second, in the present conditions, I have taken such a step to marry you without the consent of my parents, my family. So, whatever is the plus side of it, the flip side of it is, I am in dark. I am so scared, so confused. But in this darkness or confusion, dear Romeo, you are my light, you come fast. Thou day and night, for thou wilt lie upon the wings of night. Again, we have seen the knight is personified even by Romeo earlier. You remember, cheek of knight. Juliet also is personifying knight and what? Wings of knight. Why does she say wings of knight? So knight is personified as a bird. Bird is the symbol of speed. Is from this bird. We have developed the technology of the aeroplane. The flight of the bird stands for speed. So she is asking knight, requesting knight to transform itself into a bird and bring her Romeo to her on its back. Thou wilt die upon the wings of night, whiter than new snow on Ravan's back. The same image. So they think alike, lovers think alike, the same wavelength. So what she says, whiter when you are carried on the back of the bird, and she is specifically speaking of the Ravan. Ravan also belongs to the cross family, black. So earlier Romeo said you appear like a white dove in the group of dark black cross. Now she says when you come on the wings of the black bird Ravan, you appear snow white. Again, snow we have seen last day stands for the immaculate nature of a thing. Immaculate. No dirt will get accumulated with the snow. And again the purity of that love. How pure the love is, so pure as snow. How immaculate is your heart, as immaculate as the snow. Come whiter than new snow, that is also new snow, not even any dust has touched it, because while the wind embraces it, dust particles might touch it but could be washed away, even just not happen because new snow. And come gentle night. So she is falling in love with the night. Night is not gentle, but for her night is gentle because it is this night that brings her Romeo to her gentle night. Come loving night. Night is gentle. Night has become loving, black browed night. All the qualifications. How she is falling in love with the night, just for the reason it is this night that brings Romeo to her. Give me my Romeo, you can go. You are just like a messenger. Come give me my Romeo, then you can go. You can do your work, no problem. Give me my Romeo. Here, my dear students, I have to tell you something with a due apology to all those who have prepared this test book. Come give me my Romeo. Romeo is now hers. And what she says, when I shall die, take him and cut him out into little stars. If you want to study original Shakespeare, you have to correct the lines. What Shakespeare has written is, when he shall die, that is when Romeo shall die, cut him into little pieces. Not that when I die, cut him into pieces. She doesn't ask the knight to cut Romeo when she dies. Maybe, suppose she dies first. Do you want a butcher to come and cut Romeo into pieces, spilling the blood all around? Shakespeare didn't want it. Juliet didn't want it. What Shakespeare has put in the mouth of Juliet is, when he dies. And again, in literature we call it premonition, some bad, something boding that she finds when he comes down from the orchard, from the balcony to the orchard, looks up at her, and she looks down at him. She feels he is standing at the bottom of the tomb. That death imagery is haunting her. This thought shouldn't have come here. And she said, but the line is like this: when he shall die, that is when Romeo dies, his dead body must be cut into small pieces. By small pieces, we will get more number of pieces. And all those pieces should be transformed into stars. And those stars should be fixed in the sky. We come to that later. Could you imagine the love, the emotional attachment, the intensity of feeling in Juliet for Romeo? If Romeo's love for Juliet made her a goddess, her love at the end becomes a devotion, he becomes a pilgrim and she becomes a goddess. Heavenly. But for Juliet, she doesn't want Romeo to die. She wants to transform Romeo into immortality. The intensity of her emotional attachment towards Romeo doesn't allow her to see him dead. She wants to transform him into immortality. What normally happens after death in Europe, the dead body would be buried in the tomb in the cemetery. It's a grand function in Europe, the burial of the dead. Dead body would be put into a coffin, clad in white, and it would be lowered into the specially prepared pit that is called a tomb, 6 feet long, 4 feet deep, 3 feet wide normally. That depends on the size of the individual. Then what happens? After lowering the dead body, it would be covered with mud. After a few days, the dead body starts to rot. The worms feed on the dead body. They become fattened, and the remaining part left over by the worms would be changed into mud, manure that the plants in the cemetery suckle. Juliet doesn't want the dead body of her beloved Romeo to rot in the graveyard. She cannot imagine Romeo's dead body being fed on by the worms. She cannot imagine the part of the dead body turning into dust over which men who come endlessly walk on. She couldn't tolerate. What she wanted, instantly she wanted to transform into immortality by transforming his pieces cut into stars and fixing them in the sky. The star in the sky is something that has mesmerized mankind from the beginning and will continue to mesmerize till the end of mankind. You remember when you were studying in the kindergarten, of all the rhymes you learned the rhyme, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. How do you remember it now? How you have charmed your mother by repeating that song. So she wanted Romeo to be twinkling in the sky, eternally twinkling in the sky, and making the sky so beautiful for man to look at. Once Romeo starts twinkling from the sky would be so attractive, and mankind would be waiting for night to come to look at the sky to see Romeo in stars twinkling. That would have been sufficient, but the poor girl, maybe because of her uncontrollable imaginative love, tries to degrade the sun that is the source of life, light, heat, that controls the universe. She is addressing him as the garish sun. Unpredictable. So now we worship the sun early in the morning, Surya Namaskara. But she says once Romeo occupies his place in heaven, people's attraction would turn away from the sun to Romeo. And she is visualizing that day when Romeo dies a natural death. See, that the whole world will be in love with the night and pay no worship. So today people are worshipping the sun, but once Romeo occupies the place that she assigns to him, that worship would be changing the person. Worship to the garish sun. Garish can be taken many ways: showy, unpredictable, changing. Because Romeo would be ever twinkling. Love of the boy for the girl makes her, transforms her into a goddess. Love of the girl for the boy transforms him into immortality, giving him a place by the side of the sun in the form of the ever twinkling stars that beautify the sky and attract mankind.